Well, hello, all of my crafty friends. Today I am here with another installation of the Create and Inkspire. So today I decided that I wanted to show you guys how to create an image with vinyl that you then could color with Copic markers or any alcohol ink medium or water-based actually. So I'm here in Design Space and I'm going to create a background. This is just for placement purposes. I don't necessarily cut this part out, but I make it the size that I'm going to do my initial panel. And so in this instance is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I'm going to move that to the 1 by 1 placement just because it's easier for me to work that way. You guys see that I've already brought in a Yoda image and I'm going to go ahead and size that. I want it to take up about 1/3 of my page. Now this piece is going to be cut out in just vinyl when we're all said and done. So I'm just kind of moving it around to think about where I want things to be. And then I'm going in and I am going to find a set of mountains. So I'm going to use this set of mountains that I have in Design Space. I'm going to go ahead and get it sized. I want this to take up the entire width of our card panel, and I want it to be high enough that it comes down and looks as if it is behind Yoda, but I also want to leave some room at the top to create a sky. This piece additionally is going to be vinyl. Now I'm going to do text because I want to have a sentiment written underneath where Yoda is standing. So it will look as if he is actually standing on top of our sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead and type that out. Once I get everything typed out the way that I want it to be, I'm going to go up to the top where all of our fonts are, and I'm going to filter for a writing font. I'm going to go through and I'm going to look and find the writing font that I like, and then I'm going to go ahead and size that down additionally to the size of our panel. I want to go ahead and get that moved onto the panel. I'm going to change just the height. I like the width, but I want the height to be a little bit taller. And I'm going to click on our advanced options and center that text. So when I get done with this, this is pretty much how I'm going to want the image to look. Now, all I'm wanting to do at this point, the only thing that I want attached to this actual panel would be the writing. Now, if you weren't writing or not creating anything that is attached to the panel, you could delete that part and just gain your vinyl images for your coloring. But I'm going to go ahead and attach my panel and my writing, and you see that is brought to the front. And now I can go ahead and save my project and go over to my Cricut and make it. And I'll see you in a second at the craft table. So once this gets done, I'm checking to make sure everything is complete the way that I want it. I'm moving it around to the best placement for me on my mats, and that is it. So now we have this, and these are all of our images. I did add an additional baby Yoda that I wanted to put in the middle or in the inside of my card. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get the placement of my Yoda and my mountains just the way that I had it on the screen. So I've placed it on some contact paper. This is magic cover, and like I always say, it is my purple tape of vinyl because it does not tear my cardstock when I'm using vinyl on my actual images. Once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the mountains as well. And I'm going to put those where I want them to be in relation to Yoda on our card base. So once I get that down, then we can get ready to start our coloring. I feel like this is such an amazing way of doing things. Now this is going to be the inside of our card panel, and I'm going to place Baby Yoda down at the bottom, and this is going to be the panel for the inside. I won't color this one, but that's what it will look like. So I wanted to show you guys all the color combinations that I'm going to be using for our front panel. And I'm doing this overhead because I still haven't been able to fix the issue that I have from my second camera and my color combinations showing. So we're going to go in and we're just going to start coloring up our Yoda. Now, at this point, you're coloring as if you had stamped this image, but it creates this barrier for you, and you have to try pretty hard to go outside of the lines, which is something that I absolutely love to do. So as you can see, I'm going around my mountains with my lightest color, and then I'm going to come back in with my darkest shade, and I'm going to go ahead and create those shadow areas that I want for my mountain range. Once I get done with that, I'm going to start moving up and adding in my lighter colors to the lightest color that will be at the top. Now, once I get done getting all the color down, I'm going to go over it again. This was a pretty large area to cover with my Copic markers. So I didn't want, I just wanted to make sure it blended really, really well together. So I went over it, and then I went over it again, and it gave me a nice, beautiful, smooth blend for this card. So I don't typically do this, and I think that another option that you could use in this situation would be ink blending. If you wanted to use some of your distress inks or distress oxides instead of using up your ink for your Copics, because I know refills are pretty expensive at this point. No, not pretty expensive, pretty obsolete. Like you can't even find them, even if you wanted them. So that may be an alternative if you wanted to use your distress inks at this time. So now I'm just going in with my lightest gray color, because that's what I'm going to use for my mountains, and kind of extending out some of those lines to kind of determine where I'm going to place my darkest. So you see that the mountains already have some of the shadows created for me, and I am just going to use the vinyl to be the actual darkest color. And instead of coming in with my 100 marker, I'm going to start with my C9. You also see that I have gone around Yoda's head and ears because he is kind of in front of the mountains. So in my mind, it placed a shadow. However, he's pretty far away in the grand scheme of things. So not quite sure about that, but it came out and looked well in the end. So I also took a Copic Safe pen and I drew a kind of like a horizon line at the bottom of those mountains, just to show a separation from where the mountains will be and where the sand will start, which will be the next thing that we will work on with our E markers. So I'm just going in and again filling up this part with all of the inks, and I do go back through just to kind of make sure that I get everything blended in really well. And I absolutely love the way that this mountain came out. For me, this is a super fun way of doing things, because you're starting with like this blank sheet of paper and you come out with this entire scene. And I'm not a scene builder. Like, I'm so envious of people like Courtney who can take a ruler and a pencil and then they make so much magic when they get done creating a card. But, you know, of course, I'm pretty sure if I practice, I would be able to do it well. But this is my cheater method and it works and I enjoy it a lot. So I am now going around Yoda's entire body with my lightest brown color, or earth tone. I should call it earth tones, right? Because they're E markers. Yeah, that's what I should call it. So I'm going around because I feel like he will cast a shadow on to the sand. Now with the sand, I am going to particularly and majorly be using what we would call stippling. So it's just a series of dots all over, and I'm starting with the darkest color and I'm going to move all the way down to our very lightest color in this series. And as I come down, now you see that I'm still using the darkest color around him just because I want to blend out that shadow color. But in the grand scheme of things, you will see that I'm coming down with the markers using a lighter tone until we get to the lightest tone, because the farther things get away from you, the darker they will appear. So the stippling marks will be these dots, and it makes it really, really look like sand. And once I get to the very lightest color, then I will go over the entire panel with the lightest color. So that will kind of blend those stippling marks in, kind of make the ground look that very light tan color, and also give the illusion that it is getting darker and there are differentiations in your sand. I absolutely love doing this, and you don't have to worry. The Cricut pens that I use to do my writing are Copic safe. Like, I never get any bleeding. I don't know if they were specifically made that way, but they absolutely work well. So now you can see that I'm going in with my lightest color, and I'm just shading over all of the stippling dots that I have created to give the illusion that we have sand on our paper. Again, possibly could use some distress inks. I have tried blending over distress oxides with my Cricut pens, and I did not love that look. To me, it started to look a little smeared, and so I don't typically do that. If I want to do a ink blended background, I will literally ink blend my background, then put it into my Cricut and allow my Cricut to write over the distress oxides. That is a possibility. It can be done, and it works out fine as long as your panel is dry. Let me give that caveat. Make your panel dry. So you can see that I'm just going through, and I was going around the Yoda image and blending out all of those colors. I'm also using my very lightest E marker to color inside his ears, and I use the exact same combination, dropping off one color to create his robe. Now, again, with this image, you already have some of these lines for your shadowing already drawn in, so it helps out a ton. Now, this was an image that I purchased. It was not in Design Space, although Design Space has several Yoda images. I was looking for a particular facial expression for Yoda, and I found it online, and I can link the website that I purchased it, and I believe I paid maybe $3 for 3 Yoda images that came in this set. To me, pretty fair. And I've used this a time or two prior. So I am going to bring in a green combination, and I am going to color Yoda's face. Now, again, we have a lot of details already drawn in to the face, so it gives me an idea of where I'm going to need to place my shadow areas, and I absolutely love it. Again, having those vinyl lines, you can just color right over them. They kind of repel the colors, so they go where they need to be, and it provides you with a lot of dimension in your card. I really, really enjoy this. I've done this several times. I'm sure I've done it in a video before, but I'm not sure. So we're finishing up Yoda. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the series that you guys are getting, the exclusive content from Create and Inkspire. I would love to chat with you guys in the comment section, so make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know, do you have a Cricut? Have you ever tried coloring on vinyl? You guys know that I'm a huge proponent of placing vinyl on my cards. That is like the major way that I use my vinyl, since I usually do card making. So I brought in my Stardust, I'm about to say Stardust Stickle. That is not what that is. This is a Jelly Roll pen, and it is the Stardust pen, and I am just adding in some flecks of shimmer so that when you are turning the card, it will kind of catch your eye. Now, today I did not use my Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen because I could not find it anywhere, and I had used it like 20 minutes prior. That's what happens when you're crafting in your craft room. You cannot see anything. Crisis averted. I did find it. I'm also dotting the insides of his eyes with this silver pen. And so this is what our panel is going to look like. I love the shine that you get from the vinyl. I love the little flecks that you get from the Stardust pen. And I enjoyed the scene that we created. And I want to know what you guys think as well. So here are our two panels. I brought in some black glitter paper and some copper True Brush cardstock. I thought the copper, words are hard this morning. I thought the copper would be a nice addition to the sand. I thought it would bring out the sand. And as you guys can see, my glue exploded when I opened the top. I don't know what happened, but it was okay. It still worked out really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and line that up. One of the things that I love about using this True Brush cardstock and that glitter cardstock is because the backing is kind of smooth or slick, it gives me some extra time to line up things when I am making my card. So once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my Yoda panel onto the top, and that's going to be our front panel. I thought that this would be a great masculine card. It would be a great kids card. Like, this is a very versatile card. I feel like you could pretty much give it to anyone. I didn't add any extra bling. I couldn't find my shimmer pen, so I didn't add any shimmer. That was not by design. And it is a pretty simple card just to say, hey, I'm here for you. I know that things are hard right now, but know that you got a friend who is here for you, and I can be a shoulder to lean on. So I thought that this was pretty cute and an awesome way to show you guys how to do coloring with a vinyl image. So once I get done with that, I'm going to bring in a white card base, and this is a 5x7 card base. So my card base is a 5x7. My front panel with the coloring or the sentiment is 4 1/4. The black is 4 1/2, and the copper is 4.75. So that is usually how I panel my cards. And we're going to go ahead and add this front panel onto the card. And that is going to pretty much sum it up for us today. I'm so happy that you guys have joined me again for another installation on the Create and Inkspire page. I have been having an amazing time bringing this exclusive content to you guys. So please, please, please leave me a comment, a like, and let us know what you think or what you want to see. And we will be happy to try to make that happen for you in future months. Okay, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.